Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. Welcome back to the Lawyer You Know, and another day has gone by, which means another Ron DeSantis bill in the news here in the state of Florida. And how I heard about this was interesting. My constitutional law professor from Florida State University College of Law posted on Twitter, "Who's going to sue?" And the title of the article talking about this bill is, "Florida Governor Signs Law Requiring Students and Faculty to be Asked to Declare Their Political Beliefs." Okay, let's break down the actual bill, which is House Bill 233, titled Post-Secondary Education, and let's see if that's what it actually says. In the comments, let me know if you agree with this bill and the language in it, or if you think it is violating freedom of thought, freedom of speech, privacy of thought, keeping your own personal beliefs and thoughts private. Let me know what you think in the comments. So first, this bill adds requirements designed to protect the expression of diverse viewpoints at Florida college system institutions and state universities. That sounds good, right? We want to protect expression and diverse viewpoints. We want to protect diversity of thought and diversity, period. So point number one, it requires each FCS institution and state university to annually assess the intellectual freedom and viewpoint diversity at that institution using a survey adopted by the State Board of Education or the Board of Governors of the state university system as applicable. The SBE and the BOG must publish the results by September 1st, 2022, and each September 1st thereafter. I don't see anything wrong with that. All the students and faculty are going to take a survey. There's tons of surveys you take in college. I don't see what the big deal is about that. Point number two, prohibits the SBE and the BOG and FCS institutions and state universities from shielding students, faculty, or staff from protected speech. Point number three, it includes in the definition of protected expressive activities, faculty research, lectures, writings, and commentary, whether published or unpublished. The bill clarifies that expressive activities do not include defamatory speech. That's important. We don't want that protected speech to be defamatory, to be starting violence, to be the type of speech that's not already protected, right? Point number four, it authorizes a student to record video or audio of class lectures for personal educational use in connection with a complaint to the public institution of higher education where the recording was made, or as evidence in or in preparation for a criminal or civil proceeding. So this is kind of where it gets shady and kind of weird, like students can be recording lectures now, either audio or video recording, but do we really have a problem with that, right? Should the professor be saying something that shouldn't be recorded? Should there be a problem with students recording what's going on in the classroom? I don't really see a big problem with that. Some professors may disagree with me, but I think what this is really trying to guard against is the professors that are shunning students or silencing students or telling them that they think negatively because of whatever their beliefs or thoughts, politically, religiously, whatever it may be. If they have a problem with what the student's saying, they won't berate them if they're being recorded. So it's kind of like a protection when you talk about law enforcement, being allowed to record what happens in public when you're having an interaction with law enforcement. It's for the protection of the person that's having the interaction. This is the same thing, protecting the student if they feel like they're in an environment that's violating the free speech, violating freedom of thought, violating the opportunity to have diverse thoughts. Okay. Lastly, it modifies the cause of action for violations of student expressive rights to authorize a cause of action for persons injured by violation of specified rights to free speech activities, and adds a cause of action for violations related to the recording and publication of classroom lectures. So this is now going to be added, this is now going to be allowed, and there's going to be additional causes of action to protect the freedom of thought and freedom of speech in state universities in Florida. The bill requires that state universities, student government associations provide elected or appointed officers a direct appeal to a senior university administrator of any discipline, suspension, or removal from office. In addition, the bill requires that all FCS institutions and state universities to adopt student codes of conduct that meet a set of minimum due process protections for student and student organizations. So what this is really trying to do is making sure that no one's punished for believing something that's different than the majority, different than whoever's in power, different than your professor, different than the other students, right? We're trying to allow everybody to believe what they think is right and to understand what they think is right and have this communication, the debate, the argument even about what should be happening in government, in the world, at the university, and making sure that all viewpoints are heard and allowed to be discussed. So to me, this seems okay. This seems like something that I would be fine with. I'm not necessarily sure if we need law or rule for this. Obviously, the governor and whoever wrote this law feels like it is necessary, but I'll tell you what I would have a problem with. I would absolutely have a problem with all the universities forcing their faculty and students to say what their political beliefs are, what their political views are, what their political party is. So the title of that tweet, I'm not sure if I agree with that title, if that's actually what this bill is talking about. You tell me, do you think that's a fair title for this? Because in my opinion, that's not a fair title. I would absolutely be opposed to something that forced students to tell what their political beliefs are so that even those could be held against them by certain professors or faculty or student organizations. Because that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to create a divisive nature on our college campuses. And I think if everybody had to write down on a piece of paper and, sign that this is what my political beliefs are, I don't think that's fair. A lot of times in college, that's where your political beliefs are formed or changed. So that's one of the problems as well with doing something like this. So I think we have to be careful with what we force. I also am not sure. Some questions I would have for this bill are, is it anonymous, or do people know who's answering certain ways? And what are they going to do with these surveys? Are they just going to be used as far as percentages for pie charts and diagrams to show, 25% believe weed should be legalized, 25% believe that abortion should be illegal, whatever it may be? Are they going to put political viewpoints or religious viewpoints like that in this survey so we can just see charts and numbers? Or are they actually going to have names attached to them? Are they actually going to affect college acceptance rates? Are they actually going to affect how students are treated by faculty? Those are the harder questions. Because if they're going to be used against students as far as being accepted to colleges or how professors treat them, I think that's bad. But if this is just trying to protect free speech, I think it's something that's good. And I think anytime DeSantis does something because he is, a Republican, one side's going to like it, the other side's not going to like it. But I think what's important about this is it protects the party who's not in power, right? So right now, Florida might be a red state. So some of these policies may be further red and right. So it's protecting everybody who thinks on the left, maybe at some of these institutions, so that even though they're not the party in power, their thoughts and diversity of belief can still be okay on college campuses, and they're not going to be shunned or silenced. And vice versa is also true. If the pendulum swings one way to the left, it'll protect the minority on the right. So if the pendulum continues to swing, keeping it open for diversity of thought and not silencing one certain group that has a certain set of beliefs, I'm for that, because I am for diversity of thought. I am for freedom of speech. I am for all of these freedoms that were allowed in our country. But what I'm also for is privacy, right? So I think it's a fine line that we have to walk. So you tell me, do you think this is more in line with protecting our freedoms, or do you think it's too far in line with violating our privacy rights? Because those are the two rights that are kind of at odds here, is our freedom of speech, thought, belief, and our privacy rights, that we can't be forced to tell other people those things. So that's what I'm interested to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. Like this video and subscribe to our page for more of this in the future. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for watching this episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you like this content, please share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to our page and like our videos. If you want some interaction, get in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you. If you want to know any more information about our firm or this page, you can find out in the description or visit tragoslaw.com. We post multiple times throughout the week, so make sure you hit that bell so you can get the notification and not miss out on the next episode.